Hey team, Browncoat from Koru-Cottage here, and I'm very pleased today to bring you a review for the new Nacon Daija Arcade Stick. So, let's dig into it. Rightio, so Nacon have seen fit to send us a fight stick for review, and I'm going to break it down into sort of component parts for you to keep it digestible. First, I'm going to do the features as per listed in all the promo materials so we know what we're getting. Then I'm going to do feel, build quality, that kind of thing. And then really what I'll do is I'll sort of distill it all down and we'll just do the good, the bad and the ugly. Pretty similar to how we do games on Koru-Cottage now. Now also I'll be upfront, look, PS4 generation has not been a fighting game generation for me. That's not to say I'm not a fighting game fan. Back in the arcade days, Marvel vs. Capcom, I just thrashed it. I loved it so much. And then PS2, Xbox 360, I had my fair share of sticks, Mad Cats, that sort of stuff. So I definitely appreciate a good fighting stick. But for some reason, PS4, it just wasn't a generation that I got into my fighting games. That being said, I've had this stick for about 2 weeks now, and I've kind of really reinvigorated my love of them, if anything, and it just makes you appreciate the difference in a fighting stick can make to your gaming. So anyway, before we go any further, I'll drill into those categories I listed. Okay, so in terms of features, it's really well packaged. Seems like a bit of a a moot point, but yeah, it is well packaged. It is going to arrive, and it has been supported in shipping, and it's also fully assembled. Now, the first thing you'll probably recognize when it comes out of its packaging is that it's got the Vuelix button layout, which, any stick in this current marketplace has to really have that layout. It's got inside Sanwa parts, which is brilliant. Both stick and button. It's got the JLF square gate on the stick, and they just feel good. It's Sanwa. They've got solid clips on the release mechanisms. It's got a 3.5mm headphone jack. It's got all the controls that you need for a DualShock compatible game. Start, options, share. It's got the touchpad. Yes, SoulCal. It has got the touchpad controls. And then it's got an enclosure for the USB lead, which is 3 meters long. And then on the underside of the stick, it's got a large rubberized mat. Sits really nicely on the lap because it is a chunky piece of kit. It is 3.5 kilos, so it's not shy in weight. It's got other bits and pieces like LED light for player identification. It's PC compatible, no drivers or anything required. It just plugs in and the PC recognizes it like a 360 controller. And it's got removable faceplate, so you can change the art, that sort of thing. The ball tops can be changed. Comes with a Japanese ball top and also a Korean bat top. Just depends what you're into. Me personally, I prefer the bat top because that's what a lot of the arcade machines had when I was a kid here in New Zealand. But caters for both, which is pretty awesome, and it gives you all the tools that you need to make those changes. So it's on the size of it, it's pretty good. It's pretty well rounded. They've thought of most things that gamers are going to need from their fight stick, which is a credit to them. Next up, I want to do feel and build quality. So off the bat, Sanwa parts, Sanwa buttons, just feels good to me, feels familiar. Granted, this is very subjective. If you're a horror fan, then maybe it's not going to feel so natural for you, but for me personally, the stick felt great, the buttons felt great. Because they're Sanwa, they're easy to replace, and you know what you're going to get if you order some. They'll just slot straight in, completely changeable parts, and Nacon have done a really good job about making sure that all the colours and everything make it so simple to do. In terms of the build quality, yeah, I would say you would put this in the category of a quality piece of consumer electronics. Me personally, how it looks, it sits on the coffee table and my wife doesn't walk in and go, oh, what is that? Like, it's not gold and red and gaudy. Each to their own. This is just me personally, but if it's going to sit out in my lounge, it just doesn't need to look like a child's toy. It looks like a quality piece of kit. The quality of the hinges on the inside of the lid seems strong. They're bifold and they're screwed in place, so potentially if something breaks, they could be removed and ordered a replacement. I'm not sure. I've never managed to confirm that with Nacon, but I would hope that would be the case. And the locking mechanisms by the red buttons, they seem strong. It's a heavy duty spring, it's going to do a good job. The PlayStation buttons along the side of it are seated well, they don't rattle, they feel like they're very solidly put in place. And the USB cable, which unfortunately to me seems like the weakest part of this link. I broke out the screwdriver and pulled some of the interior out of the stick, and it looks like the USB is hardwired into the PCB, which is a bit of an issue if you have a little friend help with the cable for some reason, or you just have a mishap yourself. If that cable is buggered, I'm not sure what you do. You know, maybe you get a replacement from Nacon and have it hardwired in. I'm not sure, but it doesn't look like it's easily replaceable. The changeable faceplate is a big bonus. It's nicely put together. It's nice and easy to do. There's templates online, so you can create your own artwork, put it in, and create a bit of color if you're not like me and you actually want a bit of gaudiness. Right, so I want to get into the good, the bad, and the ugly. Before I do that, price-wise, falls in the same price bracket as the Razer Panthera. So in Australia it's around that $350 mark, New Zealand about $380, and it's not in America yet, but when it hits the US I'm picking it's going to be in that $199 bracket. So the good, you know, size wise I like it. It's hefty, it's quite tall, but it sits well on my lap and actually felt comfortable for my wrists to sit on with that big support area. However, there's a wee issue with that, but I'll cover it off in the bad. Weight wise, yeah, 3.5 kilos, like I said, sits nicely, feels grounded, and it doesn't move around. Overall, feels like a quality build. Sandwell parts are brilliant. Changeable faceplate, custom art, it's a good thing, definitely. And it's got all the PS4 controls that you might need down the side, so you're not going to get stuck in some menu because you can't get access to a particular option. Plugs into PC with no drivers or anything, just works like a 360 controller. And obviously the ease of access, being able to pop the lid and get into the guts of the machine, brilliant. Now bad, I'm kind of being picky here, but I kind of needed to put something in the bad column. No locking button for the side controls, so if you're a tournament player, those buttons will still be open to you bumping them if you're in a match. I mean, granted they're on the side and it would be pretty unlucky, but still there's no lockout button. The angle of the leading edge where your wrists sit, I did find that edge kind of was a wee bit annoying. Didn't hurt or anything, but it was just a wee thing that I did notice at times. And also back on the side buttons, they're a wee bit hard to remember which one is which sometimes, but not a big deal. I mean, you'd very quickly pick it up. After 2 weeks, you know, I had a fair appreciation of you know, what the big buttons did compared to the little ones. And that brings us to ugly. So ugly is the USB cable for me. I think it's just a bit too lightweight. It's not removable. It's hardwired in, and it's just a potential place for an issue to occur. If you look after it and you make sure you're not twisting it up and it doesn't get chewed on or anything like that, it's not going to give you a lick of problem, because you know it's still a quality USB cable, but I would have liked to seen a removable one. Because it just takes that potential issue out of the equation. Okay team, that's probably enough from me. All I would say in summary is that I think Nacon have done a stellar job as a first entry into a fight stick. It's a great piece of kit, it's got good parts in it, and it wouldn't look out of place at any tournament, that's for sure. And for me personally, I like it how you can flip the lid and I can keep my chocolate and bubble mixture in there. Perfect. Alright, remember to swing past Koru-Cottage.com, give us a like and give us a subscribe, that would be appreciated. And if you've got any questions, I'm still smashing away at this stick, so if you've got something you want to know, please feel free to jump in the comments and ask. Alright, thanks very much.